Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
All right, people, welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast. I'm here with Jon Mitchell for his second appearance on the podcast. For those of you that may not know this man, may not have heard the first podcast, introduce yourself, my man, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me again, Leroy. It's a pleasure to be here, mate. My name's Jon Mitchell. I'm a natural bodybuilder from the UK, currently living in Southampton. I just love training, man. I just love training. If you watched the last one, I pretty much broke down everything, why I started and all stuff like that. But I'm currently in off-season at the moment. And by the standard of what I'm seeing at the moment, I'm going to be in off-season for a while.
So, with that being said, with that little nugget that he just shared there, the subject today, which you guys probably already know by the title, maybe even why you clicked on this video, is the standard of natural bodybuilding as a whole. Now, we're going to get into it a lot more in depth, but as a general, me and this guy were just talking about before we started recording how the level of natural bodybuilding, even from a lot of young athletes coming up, is like way up here now. And I don't know, man, you talk about what you're seeing over there in the UK, and I'll talk about what I'm seeing here in Canada.
I was just, like we was just talking about earlier, right? So I've got a good friend, Jack, at the moment. Big shout out to Jack Bennett. He's competing. He's a junior, right? And I look at Jack and I'm like, you are a thick, conditioned junior.
Yeah.
And then you go to the show and then you've got a stage full of thick, conditioned juniors. It's insane. Like, the level, obviously, that people, like, the level of condition, size that they're achieving at such a young age is insane. And you ain't even talking about the men's open yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I've been to a few shows the past few weeks, and as I say, man, it's just been mad seeing a lot of people coming back. So a lot of people that have been off season are now competing this year.
Yeah.
Just to see the improvements that people are making, it's taking natural bodybuilding to a whole new standard, man. A whole new standard, honestly.
Yeah. So how old are you again? Remind me.
27.
So you're 27. I'm 25. So we've been kind of, in this whole bodybuilding world for, quite some time now, especially competitively. Like, I've been competing now since 2015. When did you first compete?
I think 2014.
Okay,
I first competed.
So me and you basically got into it very similar time. And speaking from my experience, the standard, as we'll kind of refer to it as, was not there, right? When you compare what it is now to what it was when I first started competing, like, you didn't necessarily need to be, like, shredded to the bone to, like, guarantee a win. And, like, nowadays, shredded to the bone is, like, if you even want to get looked at, because 5 other guys are going to be shredded to the bone, right? Whereas, like, when I was at a show, there was, 2 guys who were peeled, and then everybody else was in, like, good shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, so, let's talk about why you think that might be. Why is the standard, why is it just getting better, right? Why are more people just looking, in insane shape more often than not now?
So it is, I think people are more ready to push themselves to other levels. Like, I remember, obviously, being really inexperienced. When I was younger, I talked to a load of, like, the big, like, juice heads and that in the gym.
Sure.
And, they would show me, like, Dorian shredded glutes and stuff like that. And in my head, it was always taught to me that you can only get shredded glutes if you're enhanced.
Yeah, sure.
It's like you can't get shredded glutes unless you're enhanced, And, I used to call it the square bum and be like, yeah, that's just mad. Like, you can... And then I think, I don't know, we just kind of got to a place where people have just realised, like, no, we can get to this level.
Yeah.
You just got to go to new places that people haven't gone before. And it's like pushing that threshold up further and further each time. Because, like you say, you'll get someone who's peeled but might not have a great deal of mass.
Yeah.
And then you've got a guy with a great deal of mass who's like, well, I want to look like that. I'm willing to push myself that little bit further. And then he's now bringing in condition with mass. And then the other guy's now thinking, right, well, I need to put on. So if I need to put on, I've got to... And I think just generally as a whole, there's more experience, there's more knowledge being passed around.
Yeah.
So we can just feed off like a big tree. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, like, everyone's just feeding off this tree to get this different knowledge and taking the time with it. That's the other thing. You know, some guys I know they've been off season for like 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're coming back. You know, and it's not a 6 to 8 week prep. It's like 20 to 25. I mean, how long did you prep for when you last competed?
My most recent show was 28 weeks.
28 weeks, man. Like, now you say if I just said that to someone, like, cool, right, we're gonna do your prep. You know, it's gonna be 28 weeks long. It's gonna be like, what?
Well, still, so many people look at me like, you're what? You did how long? Like, I did a podcast with a guy. It's gonna be live this week, and he's a junior, and he did 16 weeks, and you know, we talked about, and he talked about like how hard it was and all this stuff, and like he got in good shape, and for like, you know, we'll get into it a little bit, but the standard over here, from my experience, is nowhere near what it is for you guys, and like, hence why I have a lot of you UK fellows on the podcast, right? Why I talk to you guys, why I share your guys' photos and that kind of stuff, because over where I am, it ain't there. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth later. But in that podcast with this young guy, he said he did like 16 weeks, and he was going on about how hard it was, and how I think he might have even said he could get away with 12. And your face, that's what I did. I'm thinking, you think you can get away with 12, and I did almost double what you think is long, right? But then, like you said, you compare what someone may get out of a 30-week prep versus what they'll get out of a 16 or a 12-week prep, when even 2 years ago, a 16-week prep was like standard, right? Everybody's like, oh, I got to show 16 weeks, right? And they're like, oh man, like that's going to be brutal, 16 weeks. And nowadays, like in the natural scene, I mean, you got guys, George Osborne's been prepping since January, right? We're, 8-9 months in? He looks insane. Yes, there's some stuff going on with his conditioning now, but I mean, for a long time, like that guy was like on point, right? For his first show, like if he'd have competed over here in Canada, he would have been, he's not the biggest guy, right? He's 146 pounds, but when you compare his condition, he would have outclassed the overall winner. Yeah, he might have got outsized, which I think plays a little bit more over here personally. I don't think condition is as rewarded as much as it should be. But again, like something like his conditioning, it's not seen often over here, and it's sad, but that's the way it is.
What you're telling me is I need to book a flight to Canada when I want to compete again. So you're telling me I need to fly over.
Man, like even so, when I competed in April, I did a local show. It was about an hour from my place, and that's the one that I won the overall in. And it was a good overall. Like my class was a walkthrough, but the overall was pretty good because I was against some big guys, but I had a better package than they did. But then when I went to the States and competed with the INBF, there was there was 3 of us that they had in our comparisons was 28 minutes. Because it was so close and they couldn't make a decision. But the standard, even just in the States, when it came to us lightweights, like when I was backstage, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, shit. I'm like, this is going to be a fight where like up here, like I'm used to going to the lightweights and kind of walking through it just because the standard isn't there. And again, I'm not saying I'm head and shoulders above everybody else, but when I'm doing a 30-week prep and everybody else is doing like still doing that kind of like 2001 16-week prep, it's just, it gives me more time to be better, right? And again, like you said, you fly to Canada, like if someone from the UK, like, I mean, you take like, you know, Jack Thorburn, AJ Morris, yourself, you know, like all you guys that I follow, that I communicate with, like if you guys came over here in shape, like don't be surprised to get that overall, because I mean, there's a few of us out here that are good, but the natty scene over here it's not as cool, right? I was at the gym the other day and I kind of was talking to this guy on Instagram and I was like, oh, we'll get a lift in sometime. And he goes, we're getting ready to lift. And he's like, so you're like natty, right? And I'm like, no, take the quotes out, like legit.
Yeah,
because it's, and he's like, he's 22 and he's telling me about like the cycle he's on. And he's like, not big. And I'm like, man, if I ever took stuff, I better be like insane, because like it just.
You know what? I was talking to someone the other day about it because again, it was that whole like, and that's the thing I think is different nowadays as well. Like we went through a phase a couple of years ago where it was the questioning who's really natty.
Yeah.
You know, like now I don't really care for it as much. Do you know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong, there are some people that obviously claim it and that aren't, but I feel like we're not as fixated on it because natural bodybuilding has made its name.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this guy and he was like, you know, he goes, oh yeah, I know, but you know, compared to like the proper bodybuilders, you guys, and I went, well, what do you mean the proper bodybuilders?
What do you mean by that?
Do you know what I mean? And he's like, but what I try to do when I talk to people, I try not to get on a high horse about it. You know, I don't think I'm better than anyone because I choose to be natural.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of my favourite bodybuilders obviously aren't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I take pride in the scene that I'm involved in and the fact that I am. And it's funny you said it because, you know, when you see some of the shape that some of the guys are in, you know, like you do get people that are like, oh yeah, well, no, you must be taking something because I don't look like that, and I'm on this cycle, and I'm like, well, bro, you're probably not doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, simple as that.
Like if I'm jumping on cycle, I'm looking like Simeon Panda by next week. Like that's what's got to happen.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Like, that's what's got to happen. You know what I mean? It's funny, man. It does make me laugh.
The one thing too, which you kind of mentioned earlier, was like the knowledge that's out there and how we're kind of like have this tree that we can pick the fruit from, right? Like let's talk about this right now because I guarantee this is all correct. You went on bodybuilding.com.
Absolutely.
You typed chest workout.
Yeah, I did.
The first one that came up on the list was Arnold Schwarzenegger's chest workout. And every Monday, you did that.
I don't forget seeing the Arnold one there and thinking, okay, this is what Arnold did.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
And every Monday, you did that. Because that's...
Until I watched the Mike Rashid's chest video.
Fair enough.
And then it became that one.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, like, yourself and me were of that... Like, there's generations, right, in bodybuilding, right? Where before it was, like, you know, the magazines, right? Like, that's where, like, I would say, you know, maybe people, like, 30 plus only had the magazines, right? And maybe, like, the old school DVD, maybe, right? Then it became, like, you and I would go on bodybuilding.com and we would just find whatever and we would do that, right? Or we would go, like, the local Walmart and there'd be, like, Flex magazine with Arnold on it and we'd go buy it. That's how we got our information. Now, you've got friggin' 3DMJ spitting out facts left, right, and center. You've got Cliff Wilson. You've got, you know, Revive Stronger, Mike Israetel. Like, all these people are, like, giving you, like, valuable information, which for guys like you, guys like me, and a bunch of you UK fellows, we take that, we internalize it, we digest it, and we use it, right? And I think that's a huge reason why natural bodybuilding is getting better. Right, is because there's just all this information and it's not BS, right? Like, we did Arnold's chest workout because Arnold had a big chest. There was no science behind it. There was no rationale behind it except for the fact that Arnold had a big chest. Now, fact, right? Now, we're looking at things and being like, okay, why would I do this, right? Why would I want to train in this manner? Why would I want to eat in this manner? Why would I want to sleep, you know, whatever, all these things that we're using. I mean, guys are wearing blue light blocker sunglasses, you know, so they don't get that negative effect from your computer screen at night. Like, little things like that. I seriously, man, 100 of those little things add up, right? And you're seeing this generation now, like, use those tools, and it shows, right? Like, it's not by accident why everybody's getting better.
Exactly. And like you say, there is so many different... And that can be a problem sometimes because, you know, people will come and ask me things, or, you know, they'll speak, and they'll be like, well, I saw this person, like you said, I said, Revive Stronger said this, and I looked at this, 3DMJ said this, and it can confuse people. But like you say, what you have to do is take that and be like, right, so you're saying this because of this. Okay, I'm going to take this part from it. You're saying this, I'm going to take this. And I think that's one thing that's missing. Is... You know, even like training splits. So I was talking to a guy in the gym that I'm managing the other day, and he asked me what my split currently was. And I said, look, at the moment it's like 4 upper body days and 1 leg day. And he's like, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, why not? You know, like one of my workouts is just pull downs and biceps. That's usually my Friday session. I'm like, look, that at the moment, at the level, at where I'm at, that's working.
Yeah.
That's allowing the volume that I need. I said, because, you know, and part of that is because I've read things about training body parts twice a week if you're trying to improve it. But again, I've taken it, internalized it, digested it, said what can work, what doesn't work.
Yep.
And that's what more people need to do. And that's what more people are, like a lot of people are doing. And they're the ones turning up and winning shows, man. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not just listening to it. They're not. We've done that Arnold chest workout and gone back and been like, no, we still suck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have that now. They've got reasons. So let me just put this on silent. They've got reasons behind everything.
Yeah.
You know, and like you say, it's just so much to grab. There's no excuse to not know what you're doing, or to get a coach that knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The information's out there, right?
100%.
Yeah, it's just like one of the big ones right now is reps in reserve versus training to failure, right? That's a hot topic right now in
That's hot stuff right now.
and people get heated about it, and I love it, right? Like I like people like sharing their opinions. I don't agree when people get like mad about it. Like, look, like if you don't agree with something, that's cool. Like you do
Just
you. Yeah, just relax, right?
Yeah.
But you know, stuff like that spreads more knowledge, right? Like, you know, someone like, you know, Jordan Peters saying like, I think I train in this way and this is why I do it, right? Like that's what is good about him because he'll explain why, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, again, like going back to Arnold's chest workout, it was just like Arnold did this, period.
yeah. Like even I mean, I went through a phase where I used to buy Flex magazines and I would read through it all, look through it all, and then, you know, cover to cover, and then go back through it and just rip through it all. Like, this isn't Kai Green's leg workout. Do you know what I mean? And I would get mad at it. Like, he didn't do 3 sets of leg extensions. That's a lie. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. One of my mates used to be like, you do this all the time. I'm like, this is what I need to do. I need to separate, you know.
Yep.
But it's funny you're saying about the, you know, the reps in reserve versus training to failure thing, because that's, I mean, I'm not a very scientific person. I like to think I'm knowledgeable. I know my onions. You know what I'm saying? I know my stuff.
Yeah.
And I know how to explain it. And there's some things I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
But some people get like weird, like you say, really heated and try to overcomplicate it. Like someone was trying to explain to me. You know how sometimes people just come and put it on you, like I wasn't aware of it. It's like, oh yeah, there's this thing called reps in reserve. I was like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay.
I'll bite.
And like, they get so fixated on it. And he was like, you know, would you ever train like that? And I said, well, no. He said, well, why not? It's been proven to do this, this, this. And I'm like, well, I don't want to train like that.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like some people will want to train like that. Like Jordan Peters obviously trains like a madman. Like the guy is so super strong. But I mean, the way that I like to train, I love volume. Anyone that's trained with me knows I love volume. You know what I mean? And if one thing I learned from Rich Kotecki, is this heavy repping. Like as heavy as you can, as many reps as you can, and volume. Do you know what I mean? And that's always stuck with me. But I enjoy training like that. Do you know what I mean? But then obviously there are times when I need to think to myself, right, I need to employ some strategy into my training because I need to have some kind of monitor of progression.
Yeah.
But I don't get too fixated on this is my style of training. No, I take, like you say, take a bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, because not one way is always going to work for someone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I like you. I like seeing people just go mad and at each other, and it gets to the point. It goes from healthy conversation banter to a bit like, right, guys, relax.
Yeah,
you know,
bring it down.
Yeah, unless you're a world champion shouting your mouth, I don't really want to hear you shouting too loud.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You said something that kind of popped into my head. What was it? Oh, so like, I think now people are learning more about what works for them too, which is probably why you're seeing people get better, is because back then we did Arnold's chest workout and for 2 guys it worked. Mm-hmm. For 20 guys it didn't, right? Now, because there is all this data and science out there, it's like, okay, Jon can find out what works for his chest. I can find out what works for my chest, and we can train completely different and still get results. Right?
Still get results.
Because maybe for you, training to failure is going to do that. Maybe for me, it's reps in reserve, and I can, you know, get more volume, and I can train it again 2 days later, get more volume in that way, and that can get me results, and that way that you do it can get you results, right? So, same with food, right? Some people eat very differently than others on prep, and, you know, before it was like, you know, this is kind of the only way to do it. Now it's okay, especially if you have a coach that knows what they're doing. It's like, okay, your body's responding in this way to this protocol. Let's do that. Or it's not responding to this protocol. We're going to do something different versus trying to like pound that into the ground because that's all anybody knows. Right?
And it's funny you say that because one of the guys put something on Instagram the other day about not eating plain food doesn't make you hardcore, right? Now, people send the pictures of my food that I post up. I eat plain food. Like, it's not. And I got about 10 different DMs within the hour of people saying, like one guy put like looking eyes and was like, yo, this is you. And I'm like, look, guys, I don't do it to be hardcore. I do it because, like you said, I was at that era where it was like, you got your chicken, you eat just basic food, chicken, rice, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm not trying, like, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't eat it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, in prep is a bit different, but I don't know, I've got my mind works weird, man. I like to be very, very strict. If I'm in a contest prep, I don't like to stray off the diet, and I'll keep things as basic and as plain as I can, because in my head, I've got a job to do. Yeah. So I'll keep it just plain and simple. I've spoken to some guys that have, started a contest prep, not seen it through, and guys that are saving this up for later and doing this and mishmash and moving things all around. To me, that's just complicated, man. Look, here's your meals, boom, 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 eat them. Yeah. But that's because it works for me and it suits my lifestyle. Like at the moment, even with my off season at the moment, this is probably my most productive off season I've ever had. Yeah. Like I said to you last time, like I can get up to like 100 kilos, like thing. But at the moment I'm sitting around 92. That's where I'm at. And I'm getting bigger, and I'm liking the progress I see. I'm finally nailing it. Yeah. And someone said to me, "Oh, you're off season. You should, like make your food a bit more exciting." I'm like, look, I have the same food every day. It's easy to prepare. Yeah. But that works for me. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, right?
For sure. And like, again, it comes back to like, that, right? You figured it out. That's what works for you, and that's where. And again, like even before you finding this groove for yourself, you probably trial and errored some things. You picked and prodded some things from what this person said and this coach said and this, article said. And you're like, okay, these 8 things make sense. How can I make it work for me? Yeah. Right? It probably makes sense to have like regular protein throughout the day, right? Yeah. It probably makes sense to have a good chunk of carbs pre and post workout. But whether that's bro rice, or it's my post-workout Fruit Loops, because that will work for me. At the end of the day, right, it's finding what works, right? And again, if you're 92 kilos, stronger than you've ever been, have a better body than you've ever been, who's to say you're doing wrong? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Something, and someone came in the gym the other day, you probably had this a million times, someone was like, man, you're always eating. It's like you're always eating. I said, I know, but it works. I'm in good shape, and what I'm eating is working. So, and that's like you say, one thing. I was talking to someone, and he was saying about cereal. He was saying, he loves having cereal in his diet, and I was like, I can't be trusted with cereal. Like I binge on a box. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We don't have Lucky Charms over in the UK. Well, we do. But it's like £6 a box, £5 a box. Right. I remember I got a box of Lucky Charms. Man, I did the whole thing in one. But I've got to a point now. I have Cocoa Pops post workout. Yep. And I think of that as my post workout. So I'm happy with the amount. I have 200 grams of it. I love having that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like you say, it works for me. And that's come from trial and error, because I was like, right, I'm going to have cereal before bed instead of porridge. Had cereal before bed, lay down, I'm like, I want some more. And then I do a whole box. So I was like, right, if I have it post-workout, I know that time of day is when I'm going to have it. Yeah. Like you say, trial and error. You know, and this is, a credit to everyone. A lot more people in our scene now are actually doing this. There's a lot more. It's funny because with it comes more knowledge for people. There also becomes more questions. Right? Because then people are like, okay, well, you say that, but I've tried this, blah, blah. And it creates more conversation, which then puts more knowledge. And and some people feel challenged by it. And they're like, oh, no, he's challenging what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. But hang on a minute, you're potentially opening up more knowledge on this section. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It just continues to grow.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's kind of been on my mind today is kind of with a client that I have is like, finding excuses for everything. You know what I mean? And trying to in bodybuilding, there's tried and true ways of doing things, right? Like, you'll never see, I'm not going to say never because I'm sure there is. There's got to be at least one or two guys that have done it. But very rarely will you see a top-level bodybuilder not eat 5 or 6 meals a day, right? Very rarely do you see, top-level bodybuilders, do intermittent fasting, right? And fast till, 2 p.m. and then save all their calories for later, right? There's these, kind of rules that we all kind of unconsciously abide by, right? When was the last time you didn't eat 5 or 6 meals a day?
I honestly don't know.
Exactly. That's my point. And these are habits that you've kind of just unconsciously formed, whether it's on prep or in the off season, and it's just you develop these things that just boil down to results, right? It's like going to the gym. People are like, oh, you go to the gym, blah, blah. It's look, that's what I do, right? I can't imagine not getting in the sessions that I have planned, right? It's like brushing my teeth and tying my shoes. I don't think about it. It's oh, it's Monday, I trained today. You know what I mean? It's just what you do, right? And that's these habits that people form over their lifetime of competing or just training in general. That's what gets them the results, right? It's
like you say, it's because they're tried, they're tested, and even though we'll talk about the guys that have come before us that have done this. There's obviously people that are like, right, well, look, I don't want to eat that boring. I want to see if I can change it up a little bit. That's fine. But you still got to pay homage to the ones that have done it before because it worked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and I'm like, it works for them.
Yeah. It's not by accident they look that way.
That's not, and it's not saying that you can't change it up. I always get into discussion with people about flexible dieting. I said, look, I have nothing against it. I said, but I just like to, I feel, and the thing is, people look at the way that we eat, your 5, 6, at the moment, I'm eating 7 meals.
Yeah.
I could probably be 6, but it's just the way work and everything spreads out, it allows me to, it's better for my digestion, I found, 7 meals is great for me, and that's just that, I'm cool with that, and I'm happy to just do that, I'm quite content, and they're like, it's really complicated, it seems like such a faff, and I'm like, no, but it's not. Because I can tell you exactly what I'm going to eat when.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not, I have my beef burgers every day. If I don't, I forgot to buy some again today. So I know that I'll be buying tuna tomorrow instead because I can get that real quick from Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Real quick. You turn around and say to them, what are you eating? Oh, well, I've got this many carbs left, so I might have a crumpet later and, I might mix it with some of this. And, that's cool. That's fine. But to me, that's complicated. That's long. I don't want to be thinking, I want to know that, right, look, I'll come home, I have my porridge and my fruit, and I'm going to have that, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's not saying I won't enjoy cheat meals. If me and my girl were going out, I change how I eat a little bit more. So I'll have pre and post workout.
Yeah.
Carbs, slightly reduced carbs in the post workout, a high protein meal, and veg, and then I'll try to just go hungry for the day.
Yeah.
So that just so when we go out for the cheat meal, I can go in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can go in and I can eat. And my body is clucking. We usually figure out what we want before we get to the restaurant.
Yeah.
So we sit down
and then the waitress comes over can I get you a drink? You're like, I'm gonna order actually.
I'm ready to order. Yeah. I'm ready to order. And that's why I don't know if she's just done it because I've influenced her. But she'd always be like, "Don't worry, I know what I'm ordering too." I'm like, "Good," because I'm ready to eat. But I get that to me. That's as flexible as it kind of gets. But like I say, it's not to knock the others, but even some of the top level bodybuilders that do the flexible dieting, they're not going to be doing that right into a show. And I don't care who argues with me. The top level, I can't say his name. Black guy, middleweight world champion.
Sam Okinola.
Pardon?
Sam Okinola?
No, he's Italian, I think. Boeing or something. I can't say his name. But he won the middleweights last year because Ben Howard competed against him.
Oh, yeah. He's not very active on Instagram, right? He's got a pretty quiet account. I know what you mean, yeah.
Quiet, and then you go on there and look at him at 84 kilos, what is that?
Yeah.
He ain't eating Pop-Tarts, cereal, and stuff going into a show.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe in the off-season he might be. He might not. But I'm looking at a physique like that, and you know, some people, oh yeah, but I don't want to look like that. Well, do you know what I do? So give me that plain food. I'm ready for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've had like guys on the podcast that are very top level guys, and like, okay, break it down for me. Thoughts on flexible dieting / clean eating. And that's what they say. It's like, okay, like I'm flexible to an extent, right? Like, do I need chicken every day? No, I could have like tuna or turkey or beef or whatever, right? Like flexibility in that sense. Or yeah, like post-workout, maybe I have Cheerios or Cocoa Pops, and the amounts just vary based on how much carbs, fat, whatever. But like you said, you know, by 6 weeks out, like she tightens right up. Like there's really no variability. And again, going back to the athletes long before us that have, you know, done so well, like they eat in a certain manner and look a certain way. You put two and two together, right? Like again, we keep like harking back to like Arnold's chest workout, but like you didn't see Arnold eating like Reese's peanut butter cups 2 weeks out because it fit his macros. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the science has evolved, and we know now that we do have room to play around, right? But there's something to be said for the consistency day in and day out of like similar foods when it comes to digestion and structure and all these things that play into what we're trying to accomplish, right? Is someone that's trying to lose like 15 pounds to like look decent on the beach gonna have to be as strict as you or I at 2 weeks out? No, not even close. But when the goal is to get in this condition, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Embrace the suck and get over it.
You see it at the shows, you know, like, yeah, I was trying to tell people in the office, like at work, you know, what it's like on show day, you know, because some of them, you know, they've been to a show before, they want to go and watch them, and I'm like, look, and this isn't to bag on anyone or anything like that, but, you know, you do see, you see the guys, I actually wrote a blog post about this for my sponsors, you see different guys on show day, and I've been at shows before, you know, and I've placed in shows where there's been a guy walking around telling you what he was eating last week, you know, I was a bit flat, so, you know, we had some Haribos, we had this, we had that, and they'll be talking about all these different, but they're not the guys placing high.
Yeah.
And that's just, and that's not to say that they couldn't, but the fact of the matter is, you're going to get someone who's kept it basic, simple, and just, like, to the plan. You're not, I mean, obviously we have to be careful what we say, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be that guy.
Yeah. And
I want to be that guy that stood there, do you know what I mean? Like you say, doing the necessary to pull everything away, you know, and then, and yeah, I love hearing them guys. I love those guys, you know. When one of the bizarrest things I ever heard was a guy telling me he was going to carb up with Chinese. He was like, I'm going to go for a big Chinese, you know, the salt and everything will just make me pop. I was like, on show day, I'm a bit of, I go quiet on show day. You know, I'm quite antisocial. I just focus more time because I'm just sat there crapping myself. But I remember like hearing it, thinking, what? Like he was like, yeah, you know, we had a Chinese like 3 days out, and you know, I feel like it just really made me pop. It didn't even place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like you say, the science has evolved, and yes, there is room to play, but at the end of the day, what works. Putting petrol in your car puts petrol in your car to drive.
Yeah.
You could probably fluff it up and put, I don't know cars, you could jazz it up some way.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is, stick petrol in the car will drive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think, like I say, you can see those, and we can see, as you know, the topic of today, we can see the standard that's turning up.
Yeah.
That guy with the shredded glutes on stage, that's not a Reese's Pieces glute. That is probably some dry chicken.
Yeah, that's chicken and rice.
Oats.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's rice, that's broccoli, and that's a rice cake maybe, and some jam or something on the day. You know, pumping up's obviously a different story, but but even with pumping up, people then start to go mad. Like, I've seen people pull out hella sweets and a selection, and it's funny because when I was at my shows, my coach, my carb, like, eating during the day was dry oats, potato, and rice.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just crazy. And I remember one guy saying to me, oh man, that's boring. Boring? We're going to be on stage in a few hours and you want to talk about boring?
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you after when I got a trophy in my hand and we'll talk boring. Do you know what I mean? But, and this is, I think this is one thing, you know, like I say, you can see who's done their homework, you know, and who is, you know, has more room to play with once you're in shape. That's the other thing. You know, like, I had a McDonald's on at the UK Internationals. I had a McDonald's. Like, Gav was like, go and get one. After I weighed in, he's like, go get a McDonald's. Cool. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that's sick. You got to have a McDonald's. I'm like, yeah. I've had to get into that. But I've got room to play with now.
Yeah.
But even that was a basic burger and fries.
Yeah.
No extras and all this and all that. And to me, like someone said to me, oh, was it even worth getting? Like, that's a bit boring. I'm like, yeah, but boring works.
Yeah.
It's just fact that I should get on a t-shirt. Boring does work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, like.
But no, I'm. Go on.
I was just gonna say, like it like you said, boring works, right? And in a prep isn't the time to get fancy, right? If you're, especially like if you're kind of like I like to call myself like a, what's the word, like a old school, like when it like my mindset's old school when it comes to bodybuilding. Like I do the basics, I eat the basics, and I do my thing, right? And like I have no issue, like, you know, my fiance's like that, right? She likes to have like even if it's just like chicken, rice, and broccoli, like she's got it all dolled up and it looks nice, and she's got like her little low calorie sauces on it, and that's cool, right? She likes to be able to do that. Mine's all mashed up and thrown together in a bowl, and I'm like, I don't care, right? A little bit of like sugar-free ketchup on it, mix it all up, and it's gone, and I don't even think about it.
It's done,
right? And it's like, I don't think it's an old Jay Cutler quote, but it's so true. He's like, I eat for function, not taste, right? And at any time, like when I'm eating, I don't ever sit there and I'm like, oh, this is so good. Very, very rarely. Like maybe if you get like a cheat or a refeed like halfway through prep, it's like, okay, this is damn good. But like on any given day, it's like, oh, 10 o'clock, food. Like, and then by 10:02, it's gone, and I'm on with my day. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's mindless, right? But again, like that's over the last, 5 years of competing, 10 years of training, right? Like, it doesn't just happen overnight, but that's kind of the point you get to, I think.
But that's what I think. That's where one thing where I'm glad in myself. I've got it. Like, even my off-season meals now, like I won't, but I can tell you exactly what I eat when, but I enjoy eating it.
Yeah.
Like I've started eating ground. I've got cream of rice because everybody bodybuilder has to have cream of rice, but that stuff is expensive, man. That stuff is expensive. So I had that in one of my meals, and then I had to up my rice in one of the other meals to get my carb intake. So I got ground rice instead.
Right.
Just digest a little bit easier. That's probably the only thing that I'm like, oh, man, this ground rice is just killing me. I was like, this is just plain, and this is dead. So I took the dark chocolate out of one of my meals with my rice cakes. I now mix it in there. Bam! I literally wolfed through it like that today.
Dark chocolate and rice.
And that's my level of flexibility. It's like, look, because I do actually want to enjoy what I'm eating. Yeah. But these meals, they are for function.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know they digest well. That's the other thing as well. Digestion has been key. Like learning what sits well on me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, as the portions are getting bigger, I'm probably going to get to I'm due a food increase probably in the next couple of weeks. I don't know where I'm going to put that yet. I'm going to play with it. But someone was like, oh, why don't you just start eating, like, throw a cookie in it? And then one of my boys was like, oh, yeah, muffin pump. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if that's really going to sit well on me now. Do you know what I mean? But then he starts comparing them to like, oh, yeah, well, Luke Sando eats like 2-3 cookies before he trains. I'm like, yeah, but that's Luke Sando, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as I want to boost my own ego, I ain't nowhere near that level. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different, but I enjoy the way I eat because I know it's a purpose. And
and don't get me wrong. Like when I say like, oh, like I don't eat for taste, it's for function, blah blah. Like you said, like I don't ever sit there and I'm like, this is gross. Like I do. I enjoy chicken and rice. I enjoy my ground beef and potato. I enjoy my oats with blueberries. Like it's all good to me. Right? But I don't ever look at it and be like, whoo, this is going to be great. Yeah, no, it's not like that, right? It's just like, okay, this is what this is for, whether it's pre-workout, post-workout, before bed, whatever. It's all got its purpose for that end goal. And I think that's where a lot of kind of natural bodybuilders that are doing so well, like that 16-year-old kid you mentioned earlier, like he's probably mentally getting to that point at 16, right? That's insane, right? Like but you'll see him, winning titles, right? Like that'll be where it goes, right? And it won't be by accident. People be like, when he's our age, people will be like, how do you do it? Be like, well, Did you not see him when he was 16? Like,
go back to that picture where he won the juniors.
yeah,
Exactly. And this is what I think is good as well. There's, especially like the community of it's really helping. Like, and there's more avenues that you can go. Like, we can turn pro as naturals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. I mean, and that is my goal. Like, you know, out and out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these. I don't go into every training session like this training session is towards going towards pro. That, like you say, it's those unwritten, unspoken habits and thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think, you know, that is long term my goal. But we know that those avenues are there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you talk to people who aren't really into this sport and stuff, and you know, I said, well, one day all this will pay off, and I'll have a British title and a pro card. They're like, oh yeah, I know, but you know, is that what you want to do? I'm like, well, yeah, it is. Do you know what I mean? And like, and I think that's giving more people more motivation. You know, and watching is, I think it's important that people are documented. But then and again, not to bag on people, but it's important to make sure when you are following people, you're following the right kind of people, because the amount of people that go into this not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, and they're even into a contest prep. I've seen it recently. Like, loads of stuff's popped up on Instagram about people that have had bad prep experiences. You know, they're all messed up. They're, you know, hormones all over the place. They're not feeling, and it's put them in a real negative place because they don't know what they're getting into, and they're not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, they're not ready, and like even I've learned, I know that I'm not ready yet. I know I've been told by the judges from UK, the FBA, that like I've got the potential to turn pro, like it's there.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at the other guy, the Italian dude, he's a world middleweight champion. He looks like a super heavyweight. So in myself, I've said, right, you know, I've accepted I can compete with heavyweights. You know, I've competed at national levels with heavyweights, but I know in my heart of hearts, I'm a middleweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to control my off season, and I will come in as a thick middleweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's my plan. So I'm thinking to myself, right, you know, someone said, when are you next going to get on stage? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to keep going until I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what I've learned is control your off season, have a really, really good, strong off season, and then have a slow, steady, good prep. That's the basics of what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Here's the book. There's the outlines. Colour it in. The colouring in is your work. Just do it. And then before you know it, you've got a full book. And that's out there now, more apparent for everyone, which I think is just great, man. It's just great for those that truly love it and truly want to go far. Not everyone wants to. I've got a friend that competes, mate. He doesn't place or anything. He just loves turning up to shows.
Yeah,
fair enough. Some people do. Do you know what I mean? But there are avenues for us that do want to push it that little bit further, and we're seeing the results of it.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like we can get, you know, natural pro cards now, and I think that's the big reason why, you know, in Canada, like. So for us, there's the CPA, which is the Canadian Physique Alliance, and that's through the IFBB, right? So they've now just come out with these natural pro cards, which so you can win an IFBB pro card at these natural shows, but then you're an IFBB pro. So say I win the overall at 151 pounds, and I'm now an IFBB pro, and I can go to like the Toronto Pro or the Tampa Pro or the New York Pro and get demolished, right? So for us, like I'm going to speak as natural Canadian athletes, if you're not in it, like me and you are in it, right? We're in natural bodybuilding, like we're surrounded by it, right? I mean, when I say I want to become a WNBF pro, 9 times out of 10 guys I talk to look at me and go, what's that? What's WNBF? Or what's the INBF, or what's the DFAC, or the BNBF. Like, people don't know that, right, in my circle, in natural bodybuilding in this area, right? And I'm in kind of like central Canada where bodybuilding's pretty big, right? The only thing guys around here know is IFBB. And, like, not to hark on the system that we have over here, but it's kind of like you're with us or you don't exist. Right? Like, when I was asked... So when I won the overall in April, I qualified for like the Canadian Nationals, which is August, which was just a couple weeks ago. And that's where they were giving out these IFBB pro cards to overall winners. And when I won, they were really pressuring me to do it this year. And I said, no, like I'm going to wait till next August because I had a 2-year qualification. I said, no, like I want some time to grow and improve. And then a couple weeks ago, one of my clients was at a show and I was talking to like cameramen and photographers and you know, all these guys, and they were like, "What do you want to turn pro with? Like, are you looking for that IFBB pro card?" And I'm like, like I'd rather get it in the WNBF. And they're all like, just like looked at me like I was like some kind of like outsider. And I'm like, when I talk to people about it, I'm like, look, like, sure, it'd be cool to say like Leroy Rollins, IFBB pro, but like I have no illusions that IFBB pro card is not going to do me any good as far as competing, right? Like if I ever did a pro show, like, so what am I going to compete in, the 212 at 150 pounds? Right? Like, but that's what people like don't understand, right? And everyone's like, "We'll just get bigger," and I'm like, "Okay, stop talking."
All right. Cheers for that.
I've been trying to do that. You think I wouldn't if I could?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So for me, like that's why after my show in April, I went down to the States because that's where the INBF show was that was closest to me. Like the closest for me in Canada is a 7-hour plane ride or a 4-hour plane ride, whatever it is. So I'm like, okay, I'll drive down to the States, which is 3 hours, compete down there, try to win, and get a pro card that way, right? Because that's my best bet. You guys have your system over there. And again, like, I don't know how big untested bodybuilding is over with you guys, but all I see is like the natural streams because you guys promote it so much.
Fair, the UK BFF used to be your main, so you'd have to win the overall at the UK BFF to get your IFBB Pro card. One IFBB Pro card a year. That's where like James Hollingshead, Luke Sando,
right?
These guys. That's where they won. Then there was a big split. I don't know if you remember, if you heard about it. There was the split with the IFBB and the UK BFF.
Okay.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there was a split, and then that's when Two Bros. Have you heard of Two Bros?
Yeah.
Events. Yeah. So Two Bros now is your way of winning a pro card. In a IFBB Pro card.
Right.
So UKBFF don't have that no more. They have their own IFBB Pro Elite.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But again, and I was speaking to someone, and he was like, "Oh, we want to win an IFBB Pro Elite card." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And he was like, "What? Just because it's not an IFBB Pro card?" I was like, but then it goes back to something that I love Matt Jansen. I'm a huge Matt Jansen fan, right? And he put up a gem the other day, and it said, for all of you trying to, it's saying along the lines of everyone trying to chase a pro card, you should be looking to chase a pro physique.
Yeah.
I was like, boom.
Yeah,
because that speaks for itself. Do you know what I mean? Because you're chasing a card, like, yeah, let's be honest, Leroy Rollins IFBB Pro would sound sick, but you in your heart of hearts would know you're not an IFBB Pro.
No, like you put me up there with Kai Green on a good day, and I'm like, well, that's fun.
yeah, exactly. And as a status thing, you could probably milk that cow dry on social media to build clients and all that. But and I know being good enough to become a WNBF pro or DFAC pro, like that gives me a feeling here that's like I've earned this.
Yeah, that's what I explain to people. Like the WNBF pro card means tenfold more to me than an IFBB pro card. It does.
Then, like you say, at least. And I'm really training my mind to think of this. If I know I've got a pro level physique, and then I do turn pro, I know that I can get on a stage and compete.
Yeah.
Rather than turning up to an IFBB Pro show and being laughed at, being and again, let's not be harsh, but we all have those people at certain shows where you're a bit like, bro, did you even diet for this? I don't want to be looking like that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be in the best shape of your life and go to that's what I mean. Like if I turn up to not even the open, the 212 class, and I'm next to friggin' Hottie Japan or Flex Lewis, like come on, right?
I've stood next to Flex Lewis at the same, like when I saw him at Body Power, at near enough the same body weight.
Yeah.
And it was like I'd just been eaten by a shark. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like, wow, we weigh the same, bro. This ain't. Do you know what I mean? I don't deserve to. Like call myself, I wouldn't want to live by that title. Do you know what I mean? But again, it's just it's like you say. But then, so not everyone's going to understand that. But the people that do within the natural community, they know what they're working towards and aiming towards. Yeah. And we've got something that we can aim towards and be proud of and be like, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, and when we first started, right? Like you didn't know any different besides IFBB, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's all I knew. Right? When I was reading the magazines and going on bodybuilding.com, that's all it was, right? It was IFBB pros, blah, blah, chest workout, IFBB pros, blah, blah, 8-week bulking. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's like there's so many natural, like, I basically, like, there's very few, like, unnatural people that I follow because it just doesn't, they're not posting really anything of value. Like, really, like, a lot of the IFBB pros are either promoting a product that I don't need, or just putting, like, hashtag Monday motivation, blah, blah. Where the guys that I'm following are putting these informative things, right? Like, that I learn from. And that's why I follow them. Like, as much as, like, I love Kai Green and will always look up to his physique or whoever it is, like, Kai Green doesn't really post stuff of value to what I'm trying to accomplish, right? Like, again,
I can't stand it. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
Like, this might be controversial, but I can't stand it because physique, work ethic, keeping himself in shape. Yes, I will not ever take away his work. But him, I like, and what he puts out, it's just not for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't need overly pampered motivation for Monday. Like, I would rather see Matt Jensen talk about his lat pullovers while you got your heels raised.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I tagged him in that, and then he messaged me back, and he actually messaged me for my story and was like, "Don't stand up. Make sure you stay leaned over it." But that's what I'm there to follow.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Right? Like, I would rather follow someone putting out value than someone trying to sell me an ebook, right? Like, I would rather, like we're gonna use Kai Green just because we're talking about him, but like, you know, he put up, you know, big sale on ebooks, right? Chest ebook, back ebook, shoulder ebook, versus like following like hypertrophy coach who's like, this is how you know, really isolate your chest doing a fly because you internally rotate and, you know, you position your palms this way. And I'm like, that makes sense. I'll try that. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, that worked, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to learn and educate myself on. And it makes me a better athlete, makes me a better coach, right? And that's where I think people are kind of getting better at sifting through the bullshit, right? Which is a part of, there was a long period of time where people just didn't really know what to do, right? When Instagram spiked, when YouTube really spiked, you didn't know what was true, what was false, who to follow, who was lying, who was trying to sell you this or give you this product, right? Like, use my discount code, you know, use this at checkout, like blah, 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 blah. Now it's like, okay, I have these 30 people that I follow that give me value, and these other people don't, right? And I think people are becoming better at figuring that out, right? Which is huge. And that's, again, like, going back to the whole subject of this podcast is like, I think people are improving their physiques. Like, you ask who that 16-year-old guy that you gave that trophy to follows, it's probably a lot of people that you and I are both going to be like, makes sense. There's no wonder he follows Cliff Wilson. It's no wonder he follows Alberto Nunez and Eric Helms, right? And all of a sudden it's like, he's got this knowledge at 16, right? He's got all this, you know, we didn't have that luxury when we were 16.
And that's the thing as well, having access to it all. Like, I mean, I'm quite lucky where, you know, I've got to know quite a lot of people. So when I go to shows, I can talk to people. Like, you know, Rich Kizek, I love Rich, and I'll always have a good chat with him. And, you know, we might not necessarily talk about training specifics, but, you know, we'll chat about training, we'll chat about diet. He said to me in one of the last shows, he's like, well, yeah, you're not fat yet. That's a big compliment. That's a big, and you know that, and guys will know that, you know. But I say we've got access to, but I'm still quite old school like you, where I like talking to people, you know, like, and finding out stuff. But equally, I can still, that's why I like when he puts up snippets of training, because I can see what he does. Yeah. People like Bob Waterhouse, you know, I look at stuff that he posts up and how he's training. I'm like, okay. And I think the one thing that the sort of, I'm going to call them the OG natties need to do, some of the OG natties, I would like to see more from them, because there is so much that we can learn from them. But they're from the era where that wasn't really put, they just did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? They just did it. That's why the guys that can explain it and go into like vivid detail and stuff, it's great, because it's like, wow, this really makes sense now. And then we can be like, that's why you were doing that, because of this, it makes sense. But I would like to see, that's why I think Ben Howard's great, because Ben puts loads of stuff out. You know, like when he does his question, I love it when he does his question time. Yeah. You know, and you ever just sit there for like 30 minutes and you're like, learning. Yeah. And just, and you know, and like, it was a mixture of Ben Howard and actually a Branch Warren video. because obviously Benno only trains 3 times a week, you know. And Branch, I watched an interview with him, and he was just saying, you know, how when he started training 4 days a week instead of 7, he's like, and he grew. Yeah. You know, and he's like, I had more resting time because he'd put in loads of years battering himself 7 days a week. He's like, when I took time off, I grew a little. And then I was looking at Ben's thing, and Ben was like, you know, I train 3 days a week for my recovery and stuff like this. And I'm like, right, okay. And then I see one other guy, and he's like, you know, I train 5 days a week. I'm like, so I said to myself, all right, let me G-check myself. Let me take an extra rest day. Do you know what I mean? Let me take one of my days where I train, instead of training at 5 a.m., I'll train in the evening so I can have a bit more sleep. It's working.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we've got access to that now, and I think it's great. I just wish I kind of had this like 8 years ago. I could have been a better bodybuilder than I am now. But
it is what it is.
You know, it is what it is. But I'm just glad, and like especially for, like I say, this is why we've got so many juniors. I mean, I'm going to shows, Leroy, man. I'm seeing juniors that some of them outclass the novice classes.
Yeah.
Or some like Jack came second at the novices at the MPA Southwest. He just missed out on being a junior because I think it was 21 cut off, and he's 22. Mm-hmm. So really and truly, he is still a junior. To me, juniors is like 23 and under.
Yeah, I was going to say, over here it's 23.
Yeah, 23. So he got put straight into men's novices. But technically, that's a junior in that men's novices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he comes second. And the guy that beat him, you know, he was older, you know, much more mature, and it was gutted when he first came on stage. I was like, bro, listen, you can't. It's like when you know, I've lost to people like Solomon. Solomon looks insane at the moment, by the way. You know, it comes of age. Some like my boy Brim put it in perspective. He's like, John now versus John in 10 years. Who's winning?
Yeah.
I'm like, John in 10 years was wet on all of these. Do you know what I mean? And that's the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. But to see people coming in at 21, 22, shredded glutes, big mass, you think, Jesus, like, this is great. We would not see this back in the day.
Yeah, it's just cool. Like, as like just, you know, as fans of this sport, it's just cool. It's cool to see, like, I mean, looking online and just seeing all these people do these amazing things and look insane, right? Like, it's just so cool. And now, like, for me, like, to see people documenting their preps is so cool, right? Yeah. When, like Alberto Nunez, it was a year or two ago, he would do like YouTube videos on his prep, and I was just glued. Like, it was like a TV series I was looking forward to every week, right? Like, and like every episode, I'd be like, learn something, right? Mm-hmm. 25 minutes, but I learned something, right? And then it's just, you're building tools, right? You have your tool case, and every time, whether it's a post or a video or a blog or one of these podcasts, someone's going to listen to this podcast. And thanks for sticking around because we're almost an hour deep. Yep. But they're going to be like, man, like, I learned something, right? Like, it's perspective, and it's just making people better, right? Which is cool. Because then when we do get that pro card, it's like, okay, I didn't get it because I was the only guy with shredded glutes, right? Now it's like, man, like, it's a battle. Like, when I was in the States and we were up there for 25 minutes, like, when the three of us got backstage, we both bent over and we were like... I'm like, man, and they were all just like, man, they were going through the ringer out there. But like, that's what you want. You want to earn it. You want to fight for it. You don't want to go up there and be like, you know, I've gone to shows like in the lightweights, like I said before, around here, like I don't get challenged really. And like, I've had shows where they like, cause over here, like they put you in the middle, and then they kind of, if you're in the middle, you're good. Right? Yeah. And I remember whatever show it was, like there was 5 or 6 of us, they put me in the middle and I just stood there in front relaxed basically, and they moved everybody. Right? Like, as cool as that is, like, I don't want that. Like, I want to be up there and like battling, right? Like, that's the only time really when you get to kind of like compete with anybody. Right? Like, exactly. We train by ourselves. And
if you say to people who aren't in this sport, you know, like, yeah, man, because I've been in some of those, man, where, you know, I look back at the footage, people recording, like you say, there's like 26 minutes of pose, and, you know, the next day you wake up like you've done a full body workout and you're battered, and you say to people who aren't in it, like, yeah, I had a battle on stage, and they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, nah, trust me, like, when you're up there, and like for me, I know my hamstrings are one of my strongest parts, and like, when I'm hitting a back double, I'm like, I know your hamstrings do not look like mine. Yeah. Like, I texted them so hard in one show, I think I pulled something. Like, I was in so much pain, but that's about, it's more fun on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'll tell you one thing as well that I will, obviously I don't want to keep you too long, but one thing that has happened is just people talking and socialising more. Like, don't get me wrong, like I say, I'm quite antisocial when it comes to stage day. Like, show day, until after the show, I don't like to talk much. Yeah. I like to just try and stay in my zone. But people talking after the show, when you're pumping up backstage, the camaraderie is so nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's refreshing, because there's nothing worse than, stiff tension everywhere.
Well, yeah,
because at the end of the day,
it used to be, even like when I first started competing, it was very much that. Like, everybody was just kind of like stink eyeing everybody. Like, everybody's in the room getting tanned up, and everybody's just squaring everybody up, and it's like, and I'm just like, man, like, why's it gotta be like that? Or like you said, now it's like, bro, what are you eating? What are you pumping up with? Right? Yeah. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's that camaraderie, and it's nice, right? And again, I don't know if that's in just the natural side of things. I don't know if the open community is like that. But yeah, like I agree wholeheartedly. I think definitely it's more of like a, sup man, like looking good, like, and especially because you can follow people now, right? Like, say me and you were in the same show, and for 20 weeks we've been just following each other, and it's like, bro, you've been looking good, like, you ready? And like, that's what's changed, which is cool.
Yeah, that is super cool, man. And it's cool because, you can keep talking to people. I talked to some guys I competed against in 2017, and they're like, you're looking good at the moment, man. Like, when are you getting back? I'm like, well, one guy was like, because I want to make sure that I'm not in the middles at that time. I was like, well, don't worry, I'm coming in their middles. I was like, but not yet. And then you just get talking about other things, and then you build networks and relationships more so. And that's another cool thing, going to shows and watching other people, and me meeting more people, but not dieting.
Yeah.
And then just send them a message like, mate, look, didn't get the chance to catch up with you, but you looked absolutely sick. And like I said to one lad at one of the shows, I said, mate, I was like, look, just make sure you turn your legs on, because when you turn your legs on, you look sharp. He's like, cheers, I remember that for the overall. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice. Do you know what I mean? It really is nice.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's not always like that with everyone. Some people do have a chip on their shoulder and whatnot, but that's called being a human. But generally, it's a great time in this natty scene, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Any last words you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, man, only thank you for having me again. Obviously, those that follow me online, just keep watching this space, because, I mean, I'm really, like I say, I'm in my true off-season stride right now, and I don't know when it is. I'm not putting a date or time on it, or a year specifically, but I am looking forward to coming back to stage, and just seeing everyone is just motivating me more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to throw an extra 50 grams of potato, because I know there needs to be some more mass. So, yeah, man, it's just great. Hit me up on social media, and let's just keep this thing growing, because it's incredible, man. It's incredible.
Right on. Plug the Instagram, man. Where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram at Train with Mitchell. Yeah, that's it. I tried to do the YouTube thing. It didn't really work, but Instagram's like, I'm hot on there, man. So Train with Mitchell, hit me up on there. And if I can help anyone, drop me a message. You can learn some stuff from me. If not, just see some fun training sessions, man.
Right on, man. Right on. All right, dude. Well, I appreciate it again. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you stuck around for this whole episode, we appreciate it. Follow this man on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description below. And we'll see you guys in the next one. You have a good day, my man. We'll do this again.
You too, bro. Take it easy, man.
Bye.
Peace.